In 1996, in the Russian city of Zhirnovsk, an unusual, brilliant child named Boriska Kipriyanovich was born, which attracted the attention of many people around the world. Strange things began from his very birth. His mother, Nadezhda Kipriyanovich, said that the birth was completely painless and lasted only a few minutes. At the age of a few months, Boriska began learning to read newspapers' headlines. And at 2 years old he started drawing space landscapes and reading books on astronomy, constantly pointing out their mistakes. He even talked about his life on Mars, the war that had taken place there, the secret lever behind the ear of the Sphinx. Also he predicted the end of the Earth, which he must prevent. He was also able to communicate telepathically with his mother and had a great ability to learn languages. Scientists began to examine the boy, and they concluded that all his stories were true. In 2008, journalists from the United States visited his family and interviewed them. At that time in Russia it was successful success. However, at some point Boris disappeared and nobody knows where he is now. There are rumors that government hiding him for unknown reasons. It sounds like crap, right? All these psychics, aliens and another story about the end of the world. But what if I told you that this story is not so simple like it seems, and the truth is much darker? Hello, my name is... And now we will try to figure out what is going on here. Let's start from the beginning. The boy truly existed and probably still is. I don't think that childbirth was really painless, cause you know, it's childbirth. We know about it from his mother, whose words, as we see later, can be taken as the truth. Well, let's move on. What to do with the fact that Boriska learned to read so early? But it wasn't any children books, but books about astronomy. At this moment we need to look back to the interview that was taken in 2008.
And Boriska says that he doesn't learn astrophysics in school. Where does he learn this?
С самого раннего детства у нас было очень много книг астрономии. Различные области. И он просто это в 3-4 года открывал эти книги. И вот, то есть он не мог, там было, значит, на латыни написано. И он просто говорил, что номера галактик, он просто перечислял их как бы.
So he didn't read them, he just looked at the pictures in those books. Oh, by the way, maybe he just learned those pictures and drawing space landscapes from them later. Also, pay the attention on this moment on the interview. Here we should already have some suspicious. Well, who have a lot of astronomy books in their home? Astronomers? But Boriska's father is a military man and his mother is a doctor. Strange things again, but remember this, it's very important. Unfortunately, I can't look behind Sphinx's ear and check the secret lever. But over the years, this object has been explored, and I guess it will be found. Scientists really examined Boris, or rather, they were people who called themselves scientists. Various ufologists and conspiracy theorists. For example, Gennady Belimov, an ufologist who has written many books about indigo children. Or here's another person who present in the interview, Vladislav Lugavenko, who also calls himself scientist. He examined indigo children as well, conducted some experiments on them and wrote books about it. At that time this book hadn't published. Now he has one published book and it's even popular among the same freaks. What kind of normal parents would invite such specialists to a child? In fact, his mother interested in ufology and believes in all this shit. She claims that since her childhood she had telepathic and psychic abilities.
And this is Nadia, his mother, and she is able to also be a telepath to some degree.
That's why there were a lot of books about astronomy in their house. Of course, these books most likely had no connection with science and reality. All statements about so-called Boris' unusual abilities and knowledge initially came from Nadezhda. The people who came to interview Boriska were conspiracy theorists from the Camelot project, who at that time were traveling all over the world and interviewing the unusual children. They said that they wanted to make our world a better place, somehow. So I would like to ask them now from here, how's going? After hearing this story, I decided to watch this interview. And do you know what I saw there? It's just a child who doesn't want to be there, who doesn't want to say anything on camera. Because of all bullshit his mother spread, he was bullied at school, what forced him to study at home. He has no friends at all.
And has he met lots of friends? New friends here? Ask him this. А ты много друзей здесь? У меня нет друзей. I don't have really friends.
Around that time the father left the family.
Папа не увлекался никогда астрофизикой, то есть он офицер российской армии.
His dad is an army officer, so he was more in other directions. He was not interested in astrology or astronomy or astrophysics.
I see. And does his father know that Boriska is a special boy?
Отец знает, что вот Бориска такой особенный мальчик.
Да, в общем-то, информация, я думаю, что до него доходит.
He got the information somehow, I think.
Okay, but not from you. I see.
He behaves very uncertainly and closed, confuses the simplest terminology, and draws something incomprehensible on the board. Most of the time his mother speaks, not him.
Очень огромное количество населения не только Земли,
но и Марса и других
галактик.
галактик.
Я рассказывала про это Сатурн, про это Юпитер. Ну, пожалуйста,
Полин, спасибо тебе. Мам, ведь...
The woman who was behind it all from the very beginning. For example, here you can see how everyone in the room literally pushing Boris to say what they want to hear.
Don't keep silence.
Молчи, пожалуйста, вообще ничего не говоришь. Надо сказать о том, что все, что создано на Марсе, это урок для базы Земли. Рассказывай все, что знаешь.
Please tell them. Don't feel shy.
Ну, вообще, если честно...
Ну, просто скажи, что ты ощущаешь. Я не знаю, как
Но
по ощущениям.
сказать откуда... Вообще-то, если честно, я не чувствую. Вы по-моему, на всю квартиру орала.
Борь, ты что такие вещи говоришь?
Tell him that what we are doing here is to help the world.
Ты просто сейчас утрируешь некоторые вещи.
Excuse
Ты
me.
подросток.
Я не помню.
Ты подросток.
They just didn't make subtitles for it, so I had to do them. You can see it's difficult for Boris to pronounce even simple phrases on his native language.
Ты стал известен в Америке. Люди тебя
Даже
узнают.
на Америке, да.
And did you recall about other planets or just Mars?
А ты о других планетах тоже вспоминала? Я только о Марсе вспоминала.
Ну, да.
Что, да, о Марсе или о других?
Вообще-то, я о других и о Марсе.
About other planets as well.
Not to mention that so-called genius with ability to learn languages doesn't understand English speech at all. And then he just started playing some video game and his answers became as short and simple as possible. But unfortunately all the hate was focused on the child, but not at the main freak of the story, his mother. This person was insane and she found perfect company for herself. That's it, her child grew up surrounded by these sectarians, who raised him with their beliefs all his life. What is happening to Boriska now? Nobody really knows, it seems like he just disappeared. However, the internet remembers everything. People are still discussing this story on different sites, and new videos uploaded on YouTube. Someone even lays out the tarot to find out what is happening with Boris now. Others say they communicate with him using telepathy and claim that he is hidden somewhere. But most of the time it's a negative towards Boris from the internet community. He is accused of lying or even called a schizophrenic. Although he is the victim here, while everyone forgot about his mother. There's an assumption that Boris lives an ordinary life somewhere in Moscow and doesn't have any active social networks, which is not surprising at all. There's even a photo with already grown-up Boris, but I will not show it for ethical reasons. So as not to attract attention to him that he probably wouldn't want. I hope it has now become obvious that this story is another conspiracy theory. And who is to blame for all of this? Specifically, a bunch of sectarians led by Boriska's mother and society whose reaction the child had to face. I wish people in our world would look a little deeper than newspapers' headlines, but that's just a dream. For now, my time is over.
Funkel, funkel, kleiner Stern, Kirby hat dich ja so gern. Tanz mit mir so Kirbyland, nehm dich fröhlich an die Hand.